What if a single investigation could expose a global conspiracy capable of killing 70 million Americans? That's exactly what happened when the FBI and Department of Justice announced the largest international drug trafficking bust in U.S. history. 29 defendants, including 22 Chinese nationals, 4 Chinese pharmaceutical companies, and 3 Americans, were indicted for running a network that sold deadly fentanyl precursors disguised as legitimate medicine. How did international corporations, cryptocurrency payments, and U.S. delivery systems combine into one of the deadliest plots ever uncovered? In this video, we break down the full story. Before we continue, your one click on the subscribe button fuels all the effort behind this and every future video. On September 3rd, federal officials revealed the scale of what they are calling a historic case, an indictment charging 29 individuals and companies with conspiring to manufacture and traffic fentanyl into the United States. The numbers are staggering. Authorities seized 139 kilograms of fentanyl powder, enough to kill 70 million people, and fentanyl pills capable of killing another 270,000. To put this into perspective, that's more than 5 times the entire population of Ohio. This wasn't a random bust of street-level dealers. It was the exposure of an international supply chain reaching from Chinese factories to American neighborhoods. The U.S. Department of Justice confirmed that 4 Chinese pharmaceutical companies, Guangzhou Tanghua Chemical Company, Guangzhou Wanjiang Biotechnology Company, Hebei Hongjun New Material Technology Company, and Hebei Fa Technology Company, were at the center of this operation. These companies didn't operate in secrecy. Instead, they presented themselves as professional businesses, complete with polished websites, customer service representatives, and detailed product catalogs. But behind the facade of legitimacy, they were selling precursor chemicals specifically used to manufacture fentanyl. Payments were collected through cryptocurrency, making transactions harder to trace, and shipments were delivered through the U.S. Postal Service and other carriers, who had no idea the packages they carried were filled with lethal substances. According to the FBI, this was not just about drugs. It was also about money laundering on a global scale. The case included 3 American defendants: Eric Michael Payne, a 39-year-old from Ohio, and his housemates Orion Treason Rafford, 24, and Sandra Byrne Davis, 39, from Georgia. Payne is accused of being a significant trafficker who worked directly with Chinese companies to purchase cutting agents. These substances weren't simple fillers. They included animal sedatives, some 200 times stronger than morphine, designed to make fentanyl more potent and addictive. Payne allegedly used these cutting agents to stretch fentanyl supplies, increasing both yield and profits. Rayford and Davis are accused of transferring more than $70,000 in cryptocurrency to Chinese nationals and helping store the illegal shipments in their home. The FBI named the investigation Operation Box Cutter, reflecting how the conspiracy cut directly into U.S. communities using seemingly legitimate channels. FBI Director Kash Patel explained the significance. This operation has already seized enough fentanyl powder to kill 70 million Americans, and indicted companies and individuals in mainland China responsible for fueling the destruction of our communities. The indictment wasn't just about drug supply. It also revealed how international financial systems are exploited. The U.S. Treasury Department's Office of Foreign Assets Control announced sanctions against the Chinese companies and their representatives, including Huang Jianpeng and Hua Xiaojun, freezing all U.S.-based assets and banning U.S. entities from doing business with them. Violating these sanctions could bring severe civil or criminal penalties. Investigators showed how Chinese criminal networks connected with Mexican drug cartels to move money and distribute drugs. Cartels needed to launder U.S. dollars, while Chinese citizens needed access to foreign currency restricted by China's regulations. This shared demand created a criminal alliance. U.S. authorities explained that cartels would sell dollars to Chinese money laundering groups, who then resold those dollars to citizens seeking to bypass China's foreign exchange limits. This operation often relied on money mules, including international students in the U.S., recruited to open bank accounts, deposit funds, or even transport cash. Some students may not have realized the seriousness of their role, believing they were simply helping countrymen while earning extra money. Others knowingly joined, attracted by quick profits. Mirror transactions, cryptocurrency trades, and trade-based laundering through luxury goods and electronics became common tactics. The DOJ emphasized that this was not isolated crime. It was a global network. Evidence showed these companies and individuals were tied to broader Chinese money laundering systems that U.S. officials say sometimes align with Chinese state interests. By laundering billions of dollars, these networks indirectly support political and economic goals of the Chinese Communist Party while fueling American drug crises. The danger of fentanyl cannot be overstated. Just a few milligrams can be fatal. The seized chemicals, if not intercepted, could have flooded communities, driving overdose numbers even higher. Over the past decade, tens of thousands of Americans have died annually from fentanyl overdoses. Special Agent Elena Idora described the cutting agent seized as 200 times stronger than morphine, making already dangerous drugs far deadlier. When mixed with other chemicals like ketamine or medetomidine, they create substances so strong that overdose reversal drugs like Narcan become less effective. The Chinese companies behind this operation were bold, even continuing business after earlier indictments. Guangzhou Tong Chemical and its executive, Huang Xiaojun, had already been indicted in Florida in 2024, yet continued selling dangerous chemicals into early 2025. According to the Treasury Department, they even expanded shipments of high-risk substances beyond fentanyl, including chemicals used to create ketamine. Meanwhile, this case connected to broader international developments. Japanese media reported that Chinese organizations linked to fentanyl smuggling had established operations in Japan, using front companies such as Fursky Company in Nagoya. One Chinese sales manager, Chen Yi, was sentenced in August 2025 to 15 years in U.S. prison for helping ship massive amounts of precursors disguised as products like dog food or motor oil. Back in Ohio, U.S. Attorney Dominique Escarre II confirmed the seriousness of the charges against Payne, Rayford, and Davis, noting sentences could range from 10 years to life. But while American defendants will stand trial, prosecuting the 22 Chinese nationals is more difficult. Because the U.S. and China do not have an extradition agreement, these individuals remain out of reach unless they travel to a nation with extradition treaties. If that happens, U.S. authorities will use Interpol red notices to pursue arrests. Still, the indictment and sanctions have already disrupted the network. By freezing assets, seizing shipments, and exposing methods, the U.S. has dismantled a pipeline that could have devastated communities nationwide. Hundreds of millions of lethal doses will never reach the streets. Officials stress that this operation was part of a broader strategy under President Trump's renewed focus on combating fentanyl trafficking. By targeting the top of the supply chain, the companies producing and shipping chemicals, law enforcement hopes to cut off the problem before it reaches dealers. This complements efforts already underway with the DEA and partnerships with allied nations like Japan. The scale of this conspiracy demonstrates how fentanyl trafficking is no longer just about local dealers. It is a global challenge requiring international cooperation, cutting-edge financial tracking, and decisive enforcement. The FBI and DOJ's actions in Operation Box Cutter sent a strong message. Whether traffickers hide behind professional websites, cryptocurrency wallets, or overseas corporations, they are not beyond the reach of American law enforcement.